Okay, today we're going to take a look at a couple of Pesukim that I think are fascinating in the story of Gideon that we might pass over very quickly, and then you realize that there's something very intense going on here. So go to Perek Vav, Pasuk Yud Aleph, and I'm just going to read 7 Pesukim of this little scene that we have here. ויבוא מלאך אדוני, וישב תחת האלה אשר בעופרה, אשר לו יואש אבי העזרי. וגדעון בנו חובק חיטים בגת, להניס בפני בניין. Now this is interesting for a couple of reasons, right? Look at this pasuk. Let's read it closely for a second. What's weird? What's missing in this pasuk here? ויבוא מלאך Hashem, and anytime it says ויבוא מלאך Hashem, what's it going to tell me? Okay, point is, it never says he's sitting under a tree.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, whatever. They're doing something. The guy's coming to camp out under a tree. Bizarre. Okay, that's number one. Number two, notice how Gideon is introduced as a... Yeah, he's introduced as a son, right? Meaning, we're not introducing Gideon as Gideon. We're introducing him. He came to Yoash, and by the way, his son Gideon is there in the Gat. Hovet Itzim, Hitim. Fine. Okay. Vayirai ela malach Adonai. Right. So that there's this delay. Malach has to appear to him. Vayomer elav Adonai mecha gibor hechayil. Okay. God be with you. Right. Just like who? Who is this like? Boaz. Right. It's interesting. Right. So almost as if maybe this helps us date it to a little bit after Boaz's time, potentially, I don't know. ויאמר אליו גדעון, בי אדוני, ויש אדוני עמנו, ולמה מסעתנו כל זאת? והיה כל נפלאותיו, אשר סיפרו לנו אבותינו לאמור, לא ממצרים העלנו אדוני, ועתה נטשנו אדוני, ויתננו בכף מדיין. What's he saying? Okay, let me ask you, your initial reaction to this pasuk, positive or negative? Negative. Dude, why is it negative? You're asking where's God? Well, I'll tell you where God is. Where's God?
Right here.
But no. Don't be so religious. I mean,
you're doing Avodah Zarah.
You're worshiping Avodah Zarah. Well, you have the nerve to come and say, where's God? God, you're worshiping Avodah Zarah. We know, right? Not only that,
his father's doing it.
There's an Avodah Zarah in your house with a cow that's been fattened for 7 years in order to be offered to the Avodah Zarah, and you're asking, you have the nerve to ask, where's God?
Well,
right?
7 years.
Incomprehensible.
Under Midian's rule, 7 years.
Okay, fine.
They started fattening the cow once Midian came along, maybe.
Oh, yeah, right. They're worshiping the cow to save them from you, Jeff.
Exactly.
Now look at this. First, the Vayifen elav Adonai. What does that mean?
Turned face.
Yeah, but who was talking to him?
No, talking to Malach.
Oh, so what word is missing?
Malach.
Malach disappears. Fine, weird, but okay, must be significant, right? Vayomer lech bechohaha zeh v'hoshata Yisrael b'kaf Midian. Hello, shalachticha. What is? So try to interpret for me the following words. Lech bechohacha zeh.
Go with this energy.
Your energy, this.
Yeah, what's this? What's this?
No,
Cool.
this.
What's
That
this?
You just same way you Koach, you just told him where's Hashem?
Yeah.
Go with that energy.
What do you mean? It's negative energy. It's energy.
But
it's
it's
energy
that
that you are saying, God, where are you? Right? It's the energy of the guy who doesn't actually want to do anything, who wants to pass the buck to somebody else instead of stop worshiping Avodah Zarah. And also, God loves what he says, right? We said it sounds like a negative thing. You should tell him, you're worshiping Avodah Zarah. You have the nerve to speak this way. And all of a sudden, this guy God's like, great response. Take that response, which I still don't understand. Take this response is the source of your strength, and go with that and save Midian. Halo shilachticha. Okay, fine. Very strange, nearly incomprehensible. But how many times do we actually have someone in the Tanakh calling out God. God, where are you?
Moshe.
What? Moshe said, God, where are you? Abraham said, God, where are you?
Yov.
Okay, maybe. I'm not even sure if Yov actually says it.
Abraham called Hashem with Setton, like, how could you do this?
No.
You're saying this specific.
No, notice Abraham's like, but if it maybe I could say something, but it got away. It's really God. He's like, oh yeah, God, where are you? This is to the core. This is right. This is you call out God's presence. You're not never says God, where are you? Where are you? Right? Notice how I'm saying. Where are you? Like, what are you doing? Right? The challenge of no, but okay, good. So we have other Nevi'im, Habakkuk, Lama Taharish Kevala Rasha Sadiq Mimenu. We have Madua Derech Rishaim Saleha Estian Miyahu. But they're speaking to God and they're asking God, how could you allow this? This is much more powerful. This is God, where are you? How, right? It's not just how could you allow this? It's like, you don't talk to me about God. Where is God? Right? It's a crazy thing, and that's the way, right? I don't think we did it justice when we said how negative it was. I think it's really worse, right? And then all of a sudden, God says, yeah, great, let's go, done, we're in. And then we have a little moment here. Vayomer elav bi Adonai b'ma Hoshiat Yisrael. Who does it sound like? Right? And Hashem says, no problem. Same answer that he gave to Moshe. No, he says it. And then he goes, right? Just like Moshe, right? Moshe wanted a ought that for other people to know that he spoke to Hashem. Gideon's like, wait, I need to make sure you're actually God. Okay, all right. And then he goes and they make that ought, and he realizes he's speaking to Malach. Moshe doesn't really have that question because he has that bizarre situation with the burning bush, and the voice is not coming from a human body, right? Yeah. So okay, I'm speaking to God. Okay. Right, either he's hallucinating or he's speaking to God. Done, right? Okay, fine. So now, I'm telling you a funny story, but for another time. Okay, so now we have the story. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre introduction, but not only that, it's even worse than that, because Ehud, Otniel, Devorah. We had an initiation story for them. No. What are you giving me initiation story for here? Of all the people you want to compare Gideon to, you're whipping out Moshe Rabbeinu. Very strange. What's happening here that we could actually try to give this story some understanding? Meaning, I'm assuming the premise is that this story, right? So good. We have the Migan connection. Nice. Right, I'm assuming the story is significant in some way. The fact that the Navi is going out of its way, and it's giving me this little backdrop, is significant for me to understand something in some way. That I want to be clear. I think we always fall into the trap. We love doing this. What do we normally do? We try to talk about the story, what it teaches us about Gideon, and then maybe we'll say some formulation. Gideon is not so confident. He needs encouragement. Who cares? No, right? You understand what I'm saying? I don't think we learn anything by saying Gideon needs encouragement, right? It doesn't really help us. I think the story is here to teach us something a little bit deeper. Okay, so let's put that as our premise. Now I'm going to mention a funny midrash. When does the story take place according to the midrash?
Am I supposed to know?
Yeah. No?
What do you mean when?
What day on the calendar year is the story taking place?
Pesach.
Pesach. It's always Pesach.
No.
Okay, it's always Pesach. How do we know? Okay, there's matzot, so it's Pesach. Not only that, right? The Midrash points out in Perek Zayin in the dream that the guy in Midian had, that there's the big matzah ball coming to destroy the camp.
Isn't it a thing of bread?
It's a matzo ball. It's a lechem sa'arim. What shape do you think the bread was in? You think it was in a loaf of bread? No, it was in a ball. It was a matzo ball.
Matzo balls.
Matzo ball's bread. It was a matzo ball bread, of course.
Of course, matzo ball.
Anyway, that's the image I always had in my head of a matzo ball. Maybe my
and you're now swallowed by a
teacher.
gefilte fish.
Okay. Look at that. You see? So now, right when you have this idea in your head, Hazal's why? Because Pesach Haya. But then Hazal, listen carefully, you bums. Now Hazal do something very cool. You ready for this? Look at the statement that Gideon says, and this one actually really works, I think. He says, "Vayechol nifleotav asher siperu lanu avotenu lemor halom mitzrayim ha'ilanu Adonai." When did the parents tell their children about Mitzrayim? Right? They took Pesach. So it's almost explicit.
It shows that the Seder it works.
It's almost explicit in Gideon's words that we're coming off some Pesach experience. Where's the idea of Hashem coming and saving us from Egypt? So you can also imagine.
The Ish Navi calls out Bnei Israel. I took you out of Mitzrayim.
Hold over that for a second.
It's showing that. Oh no, Gideon knows that. And
hold off on that. We're not up to our Ishnavi yet. We'll come back to our Ishnavi. If you had to choose which son is Gideon on the Seder table, based on his statement here, which son does he qualify as? Qualifies as the Rasha, right? This is pretty rough, right?
You and I mean?
Yeah, no, you're giving me this whole story. You said nonsense, right? You're giving me this whole story. God, come on, what are you talking about?
We should took us out.
Yeah, no, but
leave it alone. No,
where's God? What are you talking about? Right? He's challenging. Are these stories even true?
Well, he doesn't get Hakeh Bashina, so.
Okay, no, instead that's why it's so weird. He doesn't get Hakeh Bashina. He says, even weirder, right? It's very odd. It doesn't add up. Okay, so Hazal are playing off the Pesach idea, but it's not so crazy to playing off the Pesach idea, because the text is also making us connected to who we said this already, Moshe. The text is playing off some connection to Moshe, so already that there's something happening here that's not so far off to take this all the way and say we're talking about Pesach. We got Moshe, we got a mention of the Seder, we got Yitziat Mitzrayim, we got Matzah. What are you doing this for me for? So watch this. Let's go back to our Ish Navi. Okay? So the Ish Navi will start from Perek Zayin. Perek Vav, Pasuk Vav. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. Right? 6:6. So, Vayidal Yisrael me'od mipenei Midian. Vayiza'aku b'nei Yisrael el Adonai. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, the end of Mitzrayim, before
not
Moshe.
the end. What?
The end of the before Moshe's story.
Before which Moshe story?
The one where his birth, you
nope.
know?
Before what?
With the killing the guy?
Nope.
The Semitic?
Nope.
His birth, no?
Nope.
Before the Sinai?
Correct. Well, I'll show it to you inside a little bit later. We'll get there, right? But do we have this idea, before you say why you're going there, I have this pasuk elsewhere in Shoftim. Where else do we have this Vayiza'aku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem?
Yeah, that's the same.
What? No, in Shoftim.
We had it 10 seconds ago.
Right, we had it by Yehud. We had it by Otniel, right? They cry out to Hashem and...
It's a pretty common one.
Yeah,
okay, good. So now, you've been primed by Sefer Shoftim 3 times already that what should happen?
Well, normally a shofet should show up right now, and everything should go good right away. There should be no Ish Navi. That whole thing shouldn't happen.
Here, you want to see one? Look at Perek Gimel, Pasuk 15. Vav. Vayizaku b'nei Yisrael Adonai, v'yakam Adonai lahem Moshiach et Ehud ben Gera. Oh, beautiful. Look at Pasuk 9 of Perek Gimel. Tet. Vayizaku b'nei Yisrael Adonai, v'yakim Adonai Moshiach l'bnei Yisrael v'yoshiim et Uniel ben Kenan. Yeah, no response. But now, look at this. In Devorah, by the way, V'yizaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, and then the next pasuk, V'ray Shan Neviah. Look at this. ויהי כי זעקו בני ישראל לאדוני על אודות מדיין, וישלח אדוני איש נביא אל בני ישראל. ויאמר להם, כה אמר אדוני, אלוהי ישראל, אנוכי העליתי אתכם ממצרים, ועשיתי אתכם מבית העבדים. אוקיי, נייס. ואעשה לכם מיד מצרים מיד לחסם, ואקדש אותם מפניכם ותנה לכם את הסם. נייס. ואמרה לכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם, לא תראו את אלוהי אמורי השם אתם משווים בארצם, ולא שמעתם בקולי. Okay, yeah, and what's he saying? But history lesson, and lo shema'atim b'kuli. And then, yeah.
It's your fault.
No, he's not just saying it's your fault. He's saying Pinchas, he's saying something a little bit more.
I think he's saying, despite that, you're not listening to me, I'm still going to do all these things.
No, the opposite way.
No, you're on your own.
You're on your own, I'm done. You didn't listen, bye, have a good life. Meaning, he doesn't...
I did all...
Right, I did it already.
I did all this, yeah.
You guys didn't listen. And see you later, right? Meaning that it's not shocking. It doesn't shock you that the Navi doesn't give them a mikan ul haba situation of what to do now, going forward. Why?
You should know.
No, because there is no now. There is no going forward. I'm done. Thank you. We tried this. V'yisaku. I helped you. And now, sorry, can't help you anymore. Lo shema'atim b'kuli. Have a good day. Have a good life. Thank you. See you later. And Navi goes home. Now, if you're Bnei Israel, think about it for a minute. You're primed for one thing. You cry out, Hashem responds. All of a sudden, it's not happening. Now, when's the first time they cried out?
In Mitzrayim.
In Mitzrayim. What was happening in Mitzrayim at the time when they cried out to Hashem? What?
Avodah Kasha, I don't know.
No. What were Bnei Israel doing religiously?
Avodah Zarah?
Avodah Zarah. How do we know they were doing Avodah Zarah?
Says in Yoshua.
Says in Yoshua, Perikav Dalet, Pasuk Yudalet. Excellent. The Rambam talks about it, Mishneh Torah. Yehezkel talks about it. The Divrei Hayamim talks about it. Right? This is a basic idea. We know Am Yisrael and Egypt are worshipping Avodah Zarah. The Rambam exempts Shevet Levi from worshipping Avodah Zarah in Egypt, but otherwise everybody else. The Midrash implies that the worshipping Avodah Zarah, what does the Midrash say?
Both doing Avodah Zarah, the Shi and then the Malachim, no?
But the Mem Tet Sha'arei Tumah. 49 levels of Tumah. Okay, so we know they're doing Avodah Zarah, and yet, Vayisaku Bnei Yisrael el Hashem, and V'ta'al Shavotam Elohim in Avodah, the next Pasuk is Moshe is going to the desert, the end of Perek Bet, the beginning of Perek Gimel of Shemot. So what is this comparison, this obsession with Pesach, and this comparison to Moshe Rabbeinu, and this connection of the state of Am Yisrael when they cried out to Hashem? What is it coming to tell me? It's coming to tell me what Gideon is really telling God. What is Gideon really saying?
The same as we always were.
God, yeah, hello, this is what you did in the past.
Why you're not upholding the deal?
When did you help Am Yisrael? You helped them when they were worshipping Avodah Zarah. So what's this business with the Navi? What are you saying you're not going to help us? Where is God? We cried out. You have to answer. Gideon is he's not like being this flippant thing like we said earlier. Gideon is demanding from God that God come. And what does God say? And the Midrash says this beautifully. Lech b'kol ha'chazeh, you were melamed sanigoria al Am Yisrael. You were demanding God's defense for Am Yisrael, and you're saying, Hashem, this is what you do. You have to overlook them. If we're tzaddikim, if our forefathers are tzaddikim, okay. So, b'zchut avotenu. What are you going to say? They were the sha'im, but you saved them anyway, so you have to save us too. Right? This is the sanigoria that Gideon is melamed of Al Yisrael. Hashem, we're in the same time as Yetziat Mitzrayim. And therefore, you have to help us. Therefore, you better respond to us. Not only that, the Midrash actually says something very nice as well. The Malach doesn't come to, right, remember we said the Malach is sitting. He doesn't come to Gideon. What is God trying to say by the Malach not coming to Gideon? Right away, by sitting down.
I need you to come to me.
I need you to come to me. So how does Gideon come to Hashem? So there's two answers. Either Gideon, it's kind of reflecting the idea. Hashem is waiting for Am Yisrael to come to Hashem, but Gideon is waiting for Hashem to come to Am Yisrael. Right? He doesn't come to Hashem. But the Midrash gives a different alternative that's also very interesting. Why is he introduced as the son? And they say like this. He was with his father in the garden. And he tells his father, listen, if the Midianim come, I can run away, you can't. Leave, and I'll handle. So he came to Hashem how? By valuing the mitzvot of the Torah, kavedet avicha ve'et imecha. Meaning, it's an interesting midrash. It's implying that Gideon did have to do something to come to Hashem. And why do I like that? Because now let's look at the rest of the story. Right? If we're putting the story as Gideon is demanding God's response, even though Am Yisrael is not perfect, Hashem, this is what you do. When we cry out, we come. And therefore you have to come. And Hashem says, Lech b'kol ha'hazeh v'shi'at Yisrael, very good. But what's the problem? How does the story end?
What ends the story?
What?
With asking for the signs, what are you saying?
No, it doesn't end. He said, let me know you're Hashem.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine, good. And then what happens?
Goes takes down that Shirah.
Yeah.
No.
Before that.
Yeah, what happens? Where does the Malach go?
Oh, he goes up.
So now you'll get on. He disappears. Bye. Wait. Hashem wants me to save Am Yisrael. What does he want me to do? Right? When Hashem wanted Moshe to save Am Yisrael, it's very specific. Lech el Par'o. What does he want me to do? All of a sudden, Hashem appears to him at nighttime.
Yeah.
But he doesn't tell him how to save Am Yisrael. What does he do?
Tells him to
He
do
says
the
he's going to do
Mizbeach.
it.
Get rid of the Mizbeach Baal. What does this remind you of? Getting rid of the Avodah Zarah. Read it into the story of Egypt. What is this? What's
They're killing the lamb and that's the thing. And that's 4
Qurban
days.
Pesach. Qurban Pesach. Taking the lamb, the Avodah Zarah of Egypt, and getting rid of 4 days, showing the Egyptians, putting the blood on the door. Meaning, what is Hashem telling Gideon? In Egypt, you're right. I came, but it wasn't right away. They also had to come to me. Okay, I'm going to come to you. But you have to come to me. Go get rid of the Avodah Zarah. Step number 1. Step number 2. Gideon comes with an army. Hashem says, no. If I'm saving you, we're not doing this. You want me to save you? No, nothing natural here. Yeah.
First, it doesn't look like step 1 is that Hashem is saying, that's before Hashem made any demands of.
Yeah, no, so I'm in. We're going to start this, but meaning Hashem says I'm in. Fine. But we're going to do it just like Egypt. Before I actually took them out, they had to prove that they were going to be loyal to me. They had to choose me. You have to choose me too. I'm not telling you to do anything until you choose them. Right? Only then do they go to war. Okay, good. Now what else? He has 10,000 men. What does Hashem tell him?
Water.
The water thing. Whoever bows on their knees, out. Down to 300. Why?
More miraculous.
Text doesn't say, but all the commentaries point out what is bowing on your knees. When do you bow on your knees? Avodah Zarah. Get rid of these idol worshippers. They're used to bowing on their knees. The other guys don't bow on their knees. They're not used to worshiping Avodah Zarah. You have to come to me as well. You want me involved? No problem. But it can't be that I'm going to reach out to you and you're not going to reach out to me. It doesn't work like that. I mean, you're going to cry out to me and ask me to reach out to you and you don't do anything. But now, why is this so significant? Because the first 3 times that Hashem saved Am Yisrael, does it say anywhere they got rid of the Avodah Zarah?
No, it says they did good.
They never got rid of the Avodah Zarah. They just cry out. All of a sudden, time number 4. Now, Hashem is saying, no. We're not doing this. Yes, you could demand of me, where am I? But I also have the right to demand of you, where are you? And if you want to do this, it has to be a partnership.
Say that all the times they were Niel, Ehud, after that they're still doing Avodah Zarah, even though the Tishkot Haaretz 40 shana, 80 shana.
Jacob, I'm just going to tell you like this. It doesn't mention in the text that they got rid of the Avodah Zarah. Now you're going to tell me, okay, you bring me in a story, maybe the 300 guys were the guys who didn't worship Avodah Zarah. Gideon gets rid of Avodah Zarah, big whoop. Watch this. You ready for this? Go to Perek Yud. So Gideon, Gideon dies.
Waiting for the wild period to come out.
We deal with what's his name? We deal with Avimelech, ruining the whole
Yeah.
town of Shechem. Look at Perek Yud Pasuk Vav. Where is it? Yeah, Perek Yud Pasuk Vav. Okay, now again, so we just said all of a sudden Hashem's involvement became harder to get. I'm not going to help you. Then he says, okay, fine, I'll help you, but you have to buy in, just like Egypt. Now look at this. Ready? ויוסיף בני ישראל לעשות הרע בעיני אדוני, ויעבדו את הבעלים ואת האשתרות ואת אלוהי ארם ואת אלוהי סידון ואת אלוהי מואב ואת אלוהי בני עמון ואת אלוהי פלשתים. Okay, fine, get the point, thank you. ויעזבו את אדוני ולא עבדוהו. They're not worshipping Hashem. ויחרף אדוני בישראל וימקדם ביד פלשתים וביד בני עמון. Two borders, right? Two different ways. ביד פלשתים וביד בני עמון. By the way, who ends up saving them from Ammon? Yiftach, good. Who ends up saving them from Philistine?
Nobody.
Kind of. Shimshon. It sounds like those two stories are probably happening around the same time. Interesting. Just pointing that out. וירעשו וירססו את בני ישראל בשנה ההיא שמונה 10 שנה את כל בני ישראל שבט עבר הירדן ואת הסמלים שבגלעד ועברו בני עמון את הירדן להילחם גם ביהודה ובנימין ובית אפרים ותצא ישראל מאוד. And here we see, by the way, this is real. All of Am Yisrael is invested in this. This is not one of these times, the Sefer Shoftim, when we get the sense that it's only like a local problem to certain tribes. They're coming from the other side of the Jordan, which means Gad, Reuven, and Hasim and Asher are already in trouble. And now they're going to Yehuda, who we rarely see, and Binyamin, and Ephraim. Everybody's in trouble now. Okay. So we whip out the magic words again. Now remember what happened time number 4, we whipped out the magic words. Time number 4, we whipped out the magic words, and Rabbi says, Lo shema'atim, bye. Okay, look at this. ויאמר אדוני אל בני ישראל הממצא מן האמורים מן בני עמון ומן פלשתים וצידונים ועמלק ומעון לחסו אתכם ותצעקו אליי ואשאיר אתכם מידם. We've been here before, right? ואתם עזבתם אותי ותעבדו אלוהים אחרים לכן לא אוסיף להושיע אתכם לכו וזעקו לאלוהים אשר פחדתם בם המה יושיעו לכם ויעשר אתכם. Now this is worse than time number 4. That's how it says.
Let him go.
Not happening again. Have a good life. But really have a good life. It's not happening again. Last time we just said you didn't listen. And then he walked away. This time he's like, really have a good life. Go cry to those gods. I'm not doing it. I'm out. I'm done. Wow. Now look at this. Oh, I've never seen that before. That means when they cry out to God, they don't get rid of their avodah zarah. Here, they're already learning, oh, it's not going to work anymore. We actually have to do actions. How do they know to get rid of the avodah zarah? Because that's the story of Gideon. It only worked when they got rid of the avodah zarah. Now look at this. Vatiksar nasho ba'amal Yisrael. Hashem is suffering. He can't handle the pain of Yisrael, which is fascinating. There's an emotional element involved. Now, all of a sudden, what is Sefer Shoftim teaching us? These people should not be saved. It's not even Mitzrayim anymore. But I made an emotional investment in these people, and I cannot help them. But what happens? We're about to see, from this story of Ammon and Philistine, we're about to see Yiftach and Shimshon. These are, by far, throughout the Sefer, the two most failed Shoftim of Am Yisrael, right? Yiftach is introduced to us as a Beni Shazonah, and not only is he introduced as a Beni Shazonah, he has Anashim Rekim who he's leading with, and he ultimately ends up in a civil war in Am Yisrael that Gideon successfully avoids, and he does not, right? And therefore we get the sense that really Yiftach, not the greatest guy. Shimshon has the ability to be great, but clearly does not live up to his potential, what it could be. Right? At the end of the day, he betrays his Nizirut and doesn't live up to what he could be. So meaning, we get the sense that Hashem is shifting. There's a major shift here in the Sefer Shoftim. Gideon, yes, you're correct that, yeah, Hashem, but now Hashem is really asking Where are you? And you have to now buy in, and the level of buy-in is harder, and you can't just cry out to God. The expectations have increased. Now you think, what about, it's a negative thing. It's harder, things are, it's the opposite. It's now we can finally make progress. We're not dealing with babies anymore. God's expectations are raised, and since God's expectations are raised, we can actually deal with it in a serious way. It's not Am Yisrael in Egypt. It's not the first 3 times, but you guys don't really know what you're doing. You're not babies anymore, and therefore I'm demanding more from you. And that demand more from God ultimately is going to lead to successful change during Sefer Shemuel, in which they're really capable of putting away the Avodah Zarah for a very long time. Even in Malchut Israel, the Egel Zahav is a uniquely Jewish worship of Hashem, as bizarre as that sounds.
Saying they didn't borrow from some other land.
They made a Jewish Avodah Zarah, but at least they worship, who's the God? Hashem. And they worship, you're finding a Jewish Avodah Zarah. As bizarre as that sounds, right? It's twisted a little bit, but meaning Avodah Zarah is not going to plane them until the time of, who's the first guy to bring in a new God during the time of Sefer Melachim? Ahav. That's why Ahav is so big. He brings in the Be'alim. Okay, now we have a problem, right? But until then, we're really on our road to fixing. How are we on our road to fixing? By God not treating Am Yisrael as babies anymore and demanding more from them and forcing them to really commit real teshuvah that was not happening in the beginning of Sefer Shoftim. And it's all kind of hidden in this parallel to Pesach, this conversation Gideon is having with the Malach. When you read it closely, you realize how much is really there in those 6 Pesukim, that it's really setting up the distinction between what was happening until now and God's new way of responding to Am Yisrael within Sefer Shoftim. So keep that in mind. Sometimes being harsher on somebody is not a sign of a broken relationship. It's a sign that now we could have a better relationship, a more improved relationship.